Great podcasts are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys. Or tomorrow. Or the next day, I suppose. It's a podcast. You can do it whenever. But this is your time for No Time For a Podcast. Those with time for a podcast, their time is done. It's over. This is your time for No Time For a Podcast. In fact, there's never been a better time for No Time For a Podcast. The Vikings are surging. The football world it's going crazy. There's so much to talk about, and we deserve to hear your thoughts and your opinions on all that stuff. So find the time, whether it be tonight or tomorrow, but don't wait too long, because while you may think you have a busy life, a busy schedule, you must make time. It's too important. This is the best time for No Time For a Podcast to make a triumphant return. I can't wait to hear it. It's going to be great. Get after it. Get behind the microphone. Looks like that. And you talk. And you share. And you expel your opinions. Because you can. This is your time. No Time For a Podcast. Now go out there and take it.
They cut the hard line. There's no time. You're going to have to get to another exit.
See a set of keys around here.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
No time for...
No Time For Podcast.
No, I can't be bothered with that. I have no time for that sort of nonsense.
I got everything set up like I had before.
Hello?
Hello? I can hear you.
Okay, we're good.
Are the Timberwolves doing any better since the last time I looked?
I think they had it down to 7. Yeah, it's down to 7 right now.
Okay.
It's tough to win after you get an off day in New Orleans.
It's true. All right, I think I'm good. He's gotten a few more degrees since the last time I've seen him.
That's an impressive background.
So you've got a few more degrees back there than the last time I saw you.
Is it better than this, though? Legos?
Called
I
basketball.
mean, do you want a close-up of my action figure shelf? Do I have to go that far? You can see it back there in the background.
I do have other basketballs, but they rolled off.
They rolled off the shelf.
Yeah, I got to make like little Lego bases for them. That's my thought.
Little donut.
Yeah. So who's all in? I didn't even
I think it's just us.
just the three of us, huh?
Just 3 of us.
I do have the Timberwolves game on, so if I get disappointed, you know why.
Yeah, I was just asking Jason what the score was. So I left about 10 minutes ago to a different room.
Yeah. We're losing to a Zion-less Pelicans shortly before the half.
The first half, you just been sweating out the bourbon. Second half is what matters.
Very
Or
true.
the gumbo or whatever.
Well, here comes nice. Do I have to restart my computer and mute my phone yet?
You just have to mute your phone.
Done. I actually forgot about that.
I did not restart my computer, so we'll see how that works out.
I probably should. It's my work computer. It's been on for a while. Likes to get hinky after a bit if I don't.
Yeah, me too. Well, let me know when you're ready. You got everything up.
I just need to grab a cold one.
He's gonna go make a party pizza real quick.
Oh, you know how good that would be? That's not allowed in my house now. Thanks, gluten.
Thanks, Gluten.
I think I'm good.
I set up slightly different than the last time we did, so I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I think it's okay.
Your setup is different?
Yeah, I have like a couple different speakers and a different monitor going on, so but everything's kind of running through.
Yeah.
My monitor's got like 4 USB things, or 4 USB. So I have like my microphone and webcam and all that stuff going through the monitor that goes into the computer.
Is that a Mac?
Yeah.
I was going to say USB's in your monitor. That's crazy.
It's like a docking. They like built a docking station into it, so that you can, because there's so few like ports on the actual laptops anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember how we start one of these things? I don't remember it at all.
It's been a while.
I was looking at what I guess the record was 9-2 last year when we stopped. So we're like a week early.
Didn't we do a preseason one?
No, this year? No, we didn't do one this year.
That's a lie. We absolutely did a preseason one.
We did one. Well, we did the fantasy football draft kind of live. That was about as much as recorded.
We did a preseason one because we were guessing where they're going to end this year. I thought I could swear.
Well, I wasn't there if that happened, but maybe.
Well, we've done a lot of. We've actually been continuing doing these without you, so I was a little surprised.
I should listen to that backlog, see how it's been going.
Mm-hmm.
Been a little wittier.
Yeah, a little smoother.
We're gonna trim some of the fat.
Well, I guess we always start off with what are you drinking and what you've been up to, and you can skip the what you've been up to if you don't want to.
That's true.
But I have my same old, the spotted cow. We were in Wisconsin a couple weeks back, and I picked up 2 12-packs. So just slowly plodding through those. Candy on the lips, lifetime on my hips. So as for what I've been up to, just the grind, man. Just the grind.
It's a grind, living the dream.
Yeah.
Living and dying by the purple.
It's I was gonna save that for later. It's funny with I've been mixed on that with Cousin's injury. So I'm trying not to get as emotionally invested as I was up until that game. And I feel like the Godfather scene, every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. I expected nothing after Kirk went down. So the 5-0 run, it defies logic to me. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
But I'll probably, I'll just keep watching them. Like, there's a game I took off the second half. I'm like, I can't do this. And they win. I'm like, I don't even know what to think anymore. I just don't.
Was that the first Dobbs game they took off?
The first what? Oh, yeah, probably, yeah. His first one. I'm like, whatever. I'm not even, I think that was Atlanta, right? Was that Atlanta?
Yeah. Where he gets sacked and first
all right, whatever. So I'm just, I've been kind of okay to miss a little bit of it and trying to be cautiously optimistic. Originally I was hoping for a tank and like, whatever, it's gonna be a good QB draft. Let's just finally get rid of Kirk, just get off that emotional roller coaster of do we love him or hate him today, and use a top pick on a guy the first time since I guess kind of Ponder, which we don't want to talk about that. Clear out some salary cap and sort of start over emotionally. But yeah, now they're looking as good as they could outside of maybe the QB position, and that's been okay. So I don't know what to think anymore.
Jason, what are you drinking?
Did we mute him?
No, he's unmuted, but he was working earlier.
Yeah.
Sons of bitches. Well, I'll go then. I'm drinking a Drecker Welcome to the End IPA. Beginning of the end. The season, maybe.
A Drecker?
Yeah, it's the brewery up in North Dakota.
Okay.
Fargo.
Can you guys hear me yet?
Yep.
There you
go. Got you now.
Am I on? Am I live?
Hello? We're just out of practice. That's all.
Well, son of a bitch. I am drinking vodka cranberry, and I probably should have started sooner. So yeah, one of those days.
The beard's looking tight.
I try.
Yeah.
I've been oiling it.
I don't even know if you're joking.
No, you have to oil a beard. You didn't know that? Oh, well, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah. If anything,
that's what you've been doing wrong this whole time.
Is that it? Is that why they all turned white? All the hairs, 85% of the hairs I have on my face have turned white.
Well, if you use that white oil, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
You would look good with a Santa beard. You should really let that grow out. Get that distinguished look.
I don't think I could do that. I just get scruffy and that's it. I don't think I could legit grow like a beard of length.
Well, challenge right now. Just let it go for the next year and see what happens.
see how plotchy it gets. No, I'm good.
When we do our yearly podcast, you'll have a beard next time.
Yeah.
I make no guarantees. I did, like I said, though, if the Vikings win the Super Bowl, I'll shave my eyebrows.
You said get to the Super Bowl. I don't think you said win.
I'm pretty sure I said win.
I needed a little something to cheer for. I needed you to give me one step less.
If they get there, I'll shave one. If they win, I'll shave two. Wait.
What looks worse? One eyebrow or two eyebrows missing?
Well, yeah. Yeah, in solidarity with, I don't even know if he has alopecia.
He does, yeah.
He does.
Is that official what it is? Okay. I just saw an interview he was interviewing a bald cheerleader, and they didn't actually ever say the word alopecia. She had lost hers from cancer, so I wasn't sure.
He actually does have it, unlike Jada Pinkett, who's been faking it for a sympathy.
keep her name
and I don't
out.
care who slaps me for saying that.
I heard he's in town, so you might want to be careful. Being reckless.
Oh, I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
He's bursting through that door.
We'll have it on. We'll have it recorded at least, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Edgar, what you been
Yeah,
up
I
to?
don't know. Well, I was just about to say I don't know if I should be careful what I say here, because I think you guys
Why
know
start
this.
now?
Yeah, well, I start now. So in June, I went through the final round of the Jeopardy tryout and interview and questionnaire and all background check and all that. And part of the background check is they want to review any podcasts I've been on. They want to review all my social media stuff. So I don't know if you've had any listeners from Los Angeles lately since June, but that could be the Jeopardy people checking up on me. So I got to
Did
be
you
careful
actually
what I
tell them
say
about
here.
this?
What's that?
Did you actually tell them you had participated in a few here?
Well, yeah, I mean the questionnaire is pretty specific. You have to put any, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, or it specifically asks any podcast you've been on, any other YouTube videos or YouTube channels you've been on. I think they're really worried about getting someone on there and then the FBI picking them up for a January 6th connection the day after they appear on air or something bad like that, or getting a neo-Nazi on there. So they
Yeah.
really want to check the background of people before they put them on.
They want to make sure you're not like a casual Klansman. Something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
What's your timeline to hear back on that? I forget what you said.
It's the end of 2024, so I've got another 11 months. They could call me anytime.
Wow.
And like you have a week notice or something like that, I'm sure, to come out.
Well, no, I think it was 30 days notice to get things set with your job and your family if you need to.
Okay.
And then what they said was you go there, they sit you in the waiting room. It's not guaranteed that they'll actually put you on the show, but they record 5 episodes a day. And then obviously if you keep winning, you got to stay for as many days as you need to. But it's all on your dime. The hotel and airfare is you pay for it, and then I think minimum winnings. So if you bomb out in your first game, you're still guaranteed now, I think $2,000, and they expect that to cover whatever cost you incur going out there.
Okay.
So
Damn.
hopefully I wouldn't lose money if they call me out. Hopefully, I'd at least break even. Worst case scenario.
But how would the family get by without you if you had to leave town?
for that 12 hours I was gone, they'd be okay.
When would they
manage.
notice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They come to clean up the litter box in the basement. Where's Dad?
Yeah, it smells better in here than usual. What's going on? Yeah, they wouldn't miss me.
No, I get you. I give it 2 weeks before somebody's like, "Where's the fat guy?" I can't grow a beard. Yeah.
I was joking about getting my kids that Uber Teen account access, and then I thought, well, if they had that, they really wouldn't need me for anything. I really could disappear.
The Uber team? I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. So your kids can get Ubered various places, so the parents don't have to chauffeur them around, which is half of my life right now.
Why doesn't your daughter just? I mean, is she any closer to going for the license, driving again? No.
Nope. We'll try again in the spring.
Okay, you're gonna put some stipulations that has to happen before graduating.
Oh yeah, she knows that because she started looking at colleges, and she understands that if she goes to college, she has to have her license.
Yeah, or jobs or whatever, right? Like, gotta
Yeah.
taxi at some point. Yeah, that's been I'm not gonna say life changing because that's a bit of hyperbole, but since Axel got his license, it's been awesome because soccer practice, whatever, 3-4 days a week that we're not driving, man. Driving to Bloomington. That's key. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. So I strongly, whatever, let me know if I can help you out to encourage your intimidation.
Well, my youngest starts driver's ed next week, and she won't be 16 for almost a year and a half, but she's ready to go. I think she'll be a lot more eager. So hopefully that'll motivate the older one to get it first.
How is she starting before she's 15? Is it just because they have to?
It's some weird thing where you can take the class and take the written test before you're 15, and then as soon as you're 15, you'll have that in the bank, and then you can get your permit. You don't have to wait till you're 15.
Okay. I don't think I realized it did that.
I thought it was a Canadian farm license thing or something.
Wait, you live in North Dakota?
I mean, it could be a Wright County thing. We're mostly farms, so it could be different.
There you go.
How about you, old man? What you been up to?
I mean, now I've been to Chicago and started looking at colleges for Marin, and that's been interesting. She seems like she wants to go East Coast or West Coast, so
okay,
we'll have to probably even look a little bit more.
So I gotta ask, because I don't know if either of your kids have done the many of those, but like when you do these visits, do you coordinate like a visit? Like, do you coordinate getting a tour or anything, or do you just go there and walk around?
Depends on what most of the ones for Logan, we actually did tours. Marin, we did one tour so far, and then she did the thing over in England, Scotland over the summer, and that was like a learn about those two schools that are over there, and then so she actually was living on campus there for a week each. So
Okay. Yeah, we have to do the same thing with Axe. He all we know from him is he doesn't want to go to school in Wisconsin or Iowa. So that's all he said. So yeah, we gotta start figuring that out. That's getting real.
yeah, what happens if that's where the scholarships are at, Wisconsin and Iowa?
We'll talk to him.
It's like tough shit, buddy.
Yeah, he plays soccer, man. There's not much in the way of scholarships. He just, unfortunately,
Yeah,
but any sort of financial aid would be great. that's the dream, man. Just not having to pay all of it.
yeah.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? You want to start off? Going a little. I know obviously I blabbered a bit about the Vikings, but what do you think now? We're from the beginning of the year? Are we in a better or worse spot than where we were after like week 1 or 2?
Or even better than we were last year?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I have a strong opinion on that one, but
we got destroyed by the Giants last year in the playoffs. So
yep.
I don't know. That's what I always go back to. But go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, I think last year the defense was just so atrocious. We didn't realize how bad it was in real time until we got to that Giants game. And we realized we were playing like a high school defense in the NFL, and we were just getting by through sheer luck up until then. I think just the fact that they have a competent defensive coordinator this year, even with mostly the same talent, even though the offense clearly won't be as good with the quarterback situation, it definitely gives me a lot more hope for a playoff win this year with a good defense.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a game last year where you had any, or at least I shouldn't speak for others, where I had any confidence on what the hell was going to happen in like the second half of a tight game, or even a non-tight game. If they were up 15, down 15, I had zero expectations on how that thing would end. It was heartache city, heart attack city.
It's going to be a roller coaster.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, honestly, when Kirk went down, I was thinking, oh my God, like this is a team that actually can do something, even though they're 2-4 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It finally felt like they weren't that bad at all. Like they were actually a good team, and all they had to do was kill turnovers, which is a fixable thing when you're turning the ball over 3-4 times a game. Like that's not sustainable. So it felt like there was the quality on both sides of the ball to actually make a run, certainly for the playoffs. I'm not going to say like Super Bowl, but in that part, the other half is the NFC just seems so much more wide open. Everybody's got chinks in the armor on the NFC side. So I think it's a pretty open thing. Even if the Niners and the Eagles are maybe the top two, they're, everybody's beatable this year. So I had high hopes, and then Kirk went down and JJ's been hurt, and we don't lose.
It is kind of hilarious how the national media narrative on the team shifted at the same time that Kirk went down, even though aside from the turnovers, he was having a great season. And you take away the turnovers and some of those early losses, and the Vikings could be, sitting with 1 or 2 losses right now. And then as soon as Kirk Cousins gets hurt, it's instead of it being an underachieving team with a quarterback who can't do certain things, now it's a team with a mediocre quarterback who everyone's falling in love with. So like Kirk just can't get a break. Yeah. I wonder if he wasn't hurt, would ESPN be as much in love with the team if Cousins was still the quarterback and they had the same record and had the same 5-game winning streak? I don't know. Kirk might be cursed. I don't get it.
People love the Pasternak, man. I mean,
and he hasn't even played that well. Like his first game, he came in against Atlanta, got sacked for a safety, threw a horrible interception, a horrible fumble, but he pulls a couple nice scrambles out of his ass, missing wide open receivers downfield, and everyone falls in love with him. Second game against the Saints, great first half. That first half blew me away, but then the second half they were terrible again. So like how good is he really? We don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They could get blown out tomorrow night, and it wouldn't surprise me.
He's definitely missed some passes that Kirk would never miss, but I also don't know how tough it is to come in 2 weeks in 2 weeks and start with a brand new team, and for coaches you don't know, playbook you don't know, players, teammates you don't know, and figure it out. So I just can you throw a ball on point when a dude's open, right? Can you hit a guy in stride versus throw it too high, too low behind him so he has to stop? And yeah, he's definitely had some misses, but he's also actually had some that are like the easy throws he's making most of the time, which is a starting point. Can you he might not be thrown over the top of the defense much, but we might not have to. And hopefully with JJ coming back in the next couple of weeks, knock on wood, that'll open things up a little bit too. So yeah, I'm again cautiously optimistic. I don't think there's a Super Bowl run in their future, but I think I saw if they win this weekend that their chance for the playoffs, which is whatever. I mean, you never know what happens from week to week when you don't have a starting quarterback and your original starter, but something like 80%.
Yeah, it was
88.
It was like 75. High. Yeah, last week when they won.
Yeah. So it's if they.
And I think even right now they have basically a 2-game lead over their 7th seed, and they basically have a 2-game lead over number 8.
Yep.
And Denver might be their tough. Aside from Detroit, Denver is probably their last tough game of the season.
Yeah.
So
twice, but the schedule's definitely in their favor.
And Denver's just gotten tough too. Like beginning of the season, they weren't playing great either.
You just gotta let Russell.
Their defense has really come around too.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
Battle of defense.
Well, the other big thing about the Vikings we have to call out is that I don't know what changes they made with the offensive line over the offseason, but they've gone from the worst offensive line to at least a pretty good, if not one of the top 5 or 10 offensive lines in the game. So that I don't know how that happened. I don't know if Ed Ingram suddenly learned how to pass block or Bradbury's the steroids kicked in. I don't know.
And Reisner's been a good fill-in, it seems. Again, I'm not a.
Well, yeah, they traded Cleveland because they had Reisner ready to take his place.
Yeah.
Which we assumed Reisner was going to fill in for Ingram, but I guess they figured Ingram was better than Cleveland, or at least more affordable than Cleveland.
Yeah, considering how bad Ingram started those first couple games of the season, right? Like even the first 2-3 games, he was brutal. And last year, he was one of the worst guards in the league. Yeah. So they must have seen something to stick with him, but Kirk got killed last year because they were too stubborn or cheap or whatever to push him to the bench.
And Bradbury was out a bunch last year with injuries and stuff too. So
I think it was.
Just got to keep Darisaw healthy, keep him off the
island. I mean, that's a tough thing too. I mean, I can see why they didn't want to try to blow things up because they still have, Darisaw to re-sign at some point. They got Jefferson, Hunter, depending what they want to do with him. Those are 3 guys that are going to get top 5 money for their position, if not top 1 for like Jefferson, right? So
yeah,
that's another reason I'm like, I don't even know how they keep Kirk. Kirk's not gonna, even though he's a good Christian, he ain't taking a pay cut.
But coming up, the injury is kind of a blessing though, because coming off his injury, he's not going to get anywhere near a contract offer that he's making now. So you could get him for 50%. Assuming, because who are you going to be competing with? What other team is going to offer him $40 million guaranteed next year, coming off a torn Achilles?
Yeah, no, it's Pelicans, but he's still going to get 30. I bet you. It's such a
25 hometown discount. 25 might be worth it.
I would take it. Like if he wants to, and I've never understood this about the quarterbacks. Like I need, or any player, like I need the most money. I get you want to be paid a lot, but like pick which teammate you don't want to keep around. Right. There's a point where it's like, okay, well, we have to pick these 2 guys. We can't keep either of these guys or one of these guys. Who do you want to go if we pay you that extra $5 million a year? Like,
this is coming dangerously close to an overall critique of the capitalist system. You sure you want to go down that road?
Salary cap.
You sure you want to go down that road, comrade?
If they want to get rid of the salary cap, cool. But with the salary cap, it's not like teams can do more. It's not every NFL team spends a lot of their money, except for like the Bears this year, who are just cleaning house. I just don't understand how they watch like Brady win all those games, making $25 million a year when he could be making at the time 35, and be like, no, that system doesn't work. That approach doesn't work. I'm like, well, it kind of does, or it can. So.
There's something to be said for quality versus quantity. If you can live off 25 million instead of 35, and your life is going to be a lot better, better situation, better location with 25, maybe better taking the quality instead of the quantity.
Yeah. I mean, I get it if you're a guy that's going to make like, is it 3 versus 5 million? Like, no, that you gotta get your money, right? You gotta get your bag. I totally get it. But the guys that are making that 20 to 50 million a year, like I would shave it personally. I mean, like if I know I'm going to have 100 million versus 120 million in the bank, that's cool. I'll be fine. Or
so if you're Patrick Mahomes, do you want 60 million, but you have to live in Kansas City? Or are you going to take a pay cut and move to a real place?
I like Kansas City.
But we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, not you, Peter.
Yeah, but even with him, like, yeah, you lost Hill, right? And he's not even the highest paid quarterback anymore. I don't think. I don't know with his restructure with whatever they did, but It's like you could have had Tyreek Hill, but you wanted more money. Of course, Tyreek wanted max money too. And it's like, well, then we can't keep Kels or Chris Jones. I don't know. I'd be all about collusion. All right, guys, you guys talk. You guys figure out who wants what you're all fair with. You're our top 5 guys. We're a better team if the 5 of you stay. You're the keys. You guys figure out who takes what, and we'll happy meet whatever you want.
Karl Marx is nodding approvingly right now.
Or the NFL.
Again, there's a cap. Like, I would spend to the cap. I'm not advocating not spending to the cap. I'm just trying to figure out how you keep the most talent.
Peter's just, union busting over here.
Is that what that is? It's a great.
I don't know. We're in a nebulous zone there. I don't know if this is pro-union or anti-union to say that. I think it's anti-union, but whatever.
It's pro-winning. That's what it is. It's pro-winning with a restricted amount you can spend.
That's what the movie execs were saying too. It's pro-winning.
Oh, no, those you hear about them like canceling the Roadrunner movie?
Yeah, because it's better. The write-offs better than putting it out there and distributing it. Yeah.
Batgirl was the other one. Oh, we can take a $30 million write-off. Like, a-holes. Whatever.
So which teams in the NFC are clearly better than the Vikings? Eagles, Niners. We played them and beat them, but
maybe when the Niners are healthy.
Yeah.
Detroit, I don't know yet. I mean, we'll see when they play head-to-head. I think Detroit's probably better, but I don't know.
I hope that's a close couple games that they play. But
yeah, like I don't think Detroit necessarily played better when they beat Kansas City. Kansas City wasn't playing well. That was the first game of the year.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Seattle's better.
Dallas probably is.
Dallas is better if they show up.
Yeah,
I just suck.
I would never put my money on Dak in a high pressure situation.
So if the Vikings end up at 6 or 7, and they would get San Francisco or Detroit in the first round, I would like their chances against Detroit. Probably not San Fran though.
Yeah, San Fran at home would probably be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but they're still rocking the seventh round pick, who's just good at not screwing up. But is he a guy that if you get him down 14, he's gonna carry you on his back? I don't think so.
So that'd be interesting if they do end up Detroit in the first round of the playoffs. That would be 3 games against Detroit in 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be I assume that's probably happened at least once in NFL history, but that would be excessive.
Do you tank those games if it looks like that's your lineup? Do you just tank one? and
try to get Detroit?
The question is, would Detroit tank to get the Vikings?
Well, I'm gonna tank like as far as if it's the last game of the week, because the last game of the season they play Detroit, right? And if that matchup is for sure pretty much locked in, if you're the Vikes, do you do anything in that game? Or I assume teams would probably play bench guys if it didn't matter. But even if maybe it does matter a bit, do you still you know what? We're fine being 6 versus 7. We don't want, if we have to play Detroit, in case we play Detroit, if it's a little out of their hands of that game, I would not put anything into it. Right? Don't show them.
We're just going to rush 50 times. Madison carries the ball 50 times that game.
Yeah. I mean, so Axel, this is years back, but Axel played, they had a state cup or state tournament thing for club soccer. And the week before their the championship weekend, he played the team that he was potentially going to play in the Final Four there.
Mm-hmm.
And his coach just total different formation. The boys played like ass because nobody was really playing in position in a formation or their position in a formation that they're familiar with. They lost 3-0. Wasn't even close. Get to the final game, played them and beat them. I don't know, it's 2-0. But they totally played different, played well because he showed them nothing in that first game. He did not try to win at all. Of course, NFL's way different than youth soccer, but the concept is potentially a little interesting, right? Just show them nothing, give them nothing, and hopefully be a total surprise. Come up with brand new stuff, whatever, in that last match.
You would think Detroit would want to play Tampa or Washington or maybe even Seattle.
100%, I think.
More than us, depending on who's that last seed. But
I think 100%. Yeah. I mean, and if we had Cousins, I don't think any NFC team would want to play the Vikings. Last year, I think everybody was, even being the 2 seed, I bet every team was like, oh, sweet, we get the Vikings. We want the Vikings because they were paper not paper champions, but there's, a shell of a team, of a real team or a competitive team. So.
You got Danny Dimes paid, though. That was,
oh my God,
a nice outcome, I guess.
Yeah, I bet he gives some of his check every week to the Vikings for that. I'm sure O'Connell gets some money for
He just sends it straight to Ed Donatel.
or to Donatel. Yeah, that was. And now they're going to be a top 4 pick, and it's like, do they draft a quarterback?
Yeah, no doubt.
But they only have 50 or 90 guaranteed left for that dude or whatever it is.
Can we take a minute to throw dirt on the Packers' grave?
Oh, I'm in for that. Yeah.
How wonderful is the silence coming from the Green Bay fans now? It's wonderful.
Yeah, as a petty Minnesota sports fan, I love it. I love that there's no, I don't want to say no hope, but there's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's like you are now in a fishing a place where you have
Every other team has been over the last 40 years. Congratulations.
Yeah, and they don't have, right, like that, the 1 or 2 young studs to build around. They hope Watson or Dobbs or one of those guys offensively might be that guy. Their offensive line's a disaster. Defense is mixed bag. Like there's no top 5 guys, probably, maybe, I don't know, enough about the roster, like at any position, right? There's no Pro Bowler on that team, I don't think.
Do they still have Kuhn at fullback?
Yeah.
He might be a top 5 fullback.
43. He's still playing them.
Cool.
No, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic for their downfall.
That's a place that could, sign Kirk next year.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't stay, that's a really good question. Is it I don't know what the Raiders paid for, like what Garoppolo has on his deal.
I think the Raiders would blow it up and draft someone. I could see a team like maybe Washington or Atlanta being interested in Kirk because they actually seem like they're just a quarterback away from winning.
Dude, Howell's doing well for Washington.
Is he though?
Yeah,
he's got the most passing yards in the league right now.
Without turning it over
in the National Football League?
In the full National Football League, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
He's all they're doing is chucking the ball. They don't run the ball anymore up here.
Yeah. As a Brian Robinson owner, I can confirm.
Antonio Gibson is also an afterthought at this point.
Yeah, they got the enemy from the Chiefs, so I guess their offense would be decent. Okay.
Well,
learn.
I think Atlanta would be a potential. I mean, and I remember hearing that like when things were started off, so like, oh, Atlanta, maybe Atlanta will trade for him, and I don't know about the AFC. I'm trying to think.
Carolina maybe trade or sign him too.
I don't think Carolina's ready to blow it up already. They just drafted what's his name, Young.
He's real bad though. Wow. He looks real bad. He looks worse than Justin Fields. Let's just go. They're kicking themselves for not signing the guy from the Texans and drafting him.
Proud?
Yeah.
Proud, yeah.
So, well, we'll see. Do you think
maybe the Jets? Maybe Cousins will be on the Jets next year, and Rodgers will be somewhere else.
Yeah. Speaking of the Jets, does Kirk come back before the end of the year like Rodgers is going to? Is he doing ayahuasca right now?
Rodgers is not going to play again this year.
That's
he just says that he says that so people will pay attention to him. He's not going to play this year.
It's on the sideline, taking 2 steps and throwing the ball.
I can't fathom if he legitimately that was his injury, stepping on the field that quickly. But he's nuts, so maybe you never know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What do you think if we lose Kirk, does that impact JJ, and does that maybe impact their decision to try to re-sign Kirk?
I mean, JJ seems to love him,
but do you really think Jefferson's going to put his future in the hands of a guy who's a couple years away from retirement, whose entire reputation has been just not quite being good enough? I think Jefferson understands they could spend a first round pick on a guy next year, and he could be an All-Pro for the next 10. I don't think he's going to be married to Cousins. And I don't think those guys are hanging out off field.
Probably not. Going to church together, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think JJ's part of the barbershop quartet.
What about Hunter? Do you guys think they're able to keep Hunter? And do you want them to for what he'll probably cost? I mean, he's legit probably going to get 30 plus a year, right?
I mean, as good of a year as he's having, they might have blown it by not trading him at the deadline, even though they're still it's still in contention, but they're not going to be able to re-sign him, and his value was as high as it was going to be.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess they showed they're putting their chips in for this season, but I guess time will tell. I mean, if they have if they get to the playoffs even and they have like a first round loss, it's like, was it worth it? And the whole point is to win. I know that, but there's times you have to retool. And
but that doesn't mean they're going to pick up Hunter. I mean, wouldn't pick up Hunter, but
they could. I don't even know if they can franchise him again, right?
I think you can franchise for a few years. Good,
not to sign it, but it's at least it's a bargaining chip of sorts, right?
Yeah.
So So what's the final playoff prediction then for them?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what they're. I'm just trying to look at their schedule.
I mean, do they make it? Well, I think they do at this point. I think they do make it.
Yeah, I think with the 80% chance, I think they make it.
Yeah, I'd say 10 or 11 wins, probably 6 or 7 seed. So that would, again, give them at Detroit or at San Francisco first round. I think at Detroit, maybe they pull an upset. Otherwise, probably not.
Yeah, so they're set to play Detroit, huh? And
That
that could
stands
change
right now, yeah.
Good Lord, some bad.
I mean, I suppose if they pull off the upset against Detroit, if Detroit goes in the toilet, maybe the Vikings do get up to the 3rd seed.
Yeah, that would be crazy after the start of the year, how it started.
That would be hilarious, right? If they
caught them at the end, yeah, stretch.
Yeah,
get
like a 3 seed. I'd almost prefer to just stay at like the 7 and not have the pressure of being a high seed like last year and breaking fans' hearts.
So before the bye week, they have the Bears, and then they have the Raiders after, and then the Bengals without Burrow now, and then the Lions, Packers, Lions. Oof.
So yeah, I think Denver could be tough, and I think the 2 Lions games could be tough, but otherwise, I think they easily should win the others. Although who knows if Dobbs turns out to secretly suck? Who knows? There's a reason he's been on 4 teams in the last year. He's not a great quarterback.
But has he also had a team like this? It's a difference, right? Here I've been talking myself into it again.
Here's me getting my hopes up one more time.
Yeah. Where is the Super Bowl this year? Is it Las Vegas?
I believe so, yeah.
We're going. Oh, shit, I probably can't. Never mind.
That's a nice thought.
Yeah.
Because you're on call.
Yeah, something like that.
Is it the first week in February? Is it
What's
like
that?
The Super Bowl, like the 6th or 7th, something like the 5th or something?
I think it's later. I think it's like the 11th or something.
Is it the weekend after? Okay. I just got to check because, February 11th. Okay. I'll be in Florida the week before. So just making sure I'll actually be able to enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm. I'm having a very, very large mole removed that Friday before the Super Bowl, so I might still be bleeding on Sunday. We'll have to find out. I can reschedule that if I need to. No, this is a very large mole in a very sensitive place. I would not send you pictures of it.
Interesting.
I've said too much.
Can it taint? Is that what we're talking about?
Can you even get mole?
Apparently you can. I hope it's a mole. Maybe it's something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess that's for the doctors to find out.
It's actually a barnacle of some sort.
Barnacle.
It's a piece of gum somebody stuck there and it just never came off.
Yeah. See, that happens. Hopefully it's not a tick.
Ooh, it could be a 10-year-old
tick. I can feel it throbbing. It knows we're talking. I can feel it throbbing.
It's trying to communicate with us.
It's angry.
It also has opinions on the Vikings playoff push.
Yeah, most people do.
So does this feel like the Case Keenum season so far with Dobbs?
It's kind of the roster isn't as good. I don't think that roster was, I think, strong.
Yeah, other than the quarterback position.
Other than the quarterback. But again, collectively, I don't think there's that juggernaut on the NFC side. Really, either side, right? Like, there's no. I mean, looking at the AFC, Chiefs, Ravens might actually be the best team, maybe. Kind of, but then they also blew that big lead to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. Like, Dolphins lose games that they probably shouldn't.
I think Josh Allen must have suffered some kind of a head injury because I don't think he knows how to play football anymore.
Yeah,
he was just looked terrible in the last game.
Yeah, he's been brutal. I watched some of that and no bueno. It's just a lot of mid teams. There's just no like historically. I mean, the Eagles again, even the Eagles, right? Like they don't seem like as good as last year, even though they're 8-1.
Yeah.
If the Vikings could completely shut down the Eagles' passing offense, how can you win a Super Bowl if the Vikings' terrible defense can stop you from passing the ball?
Yeah.
There's something does not compute there.
Well, it's that, and we also couldn't stop the run that first couple weeks, so they ran for 270 yards or some crap like that. So,
well, in that Eagles game though, I mean, legitimately, they were trying to pass the ball in the first half. They could not pass against the Vikings. The Vikings were saying, you can run against us. We'll let you run, but we're not going to let you pass against us. And the Eagles said, fine, we're just going to run. And that was the end of the game.
Another game win by turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll say, I think they get in. I think they can squeak out a first round win. I don't see them getting past like a divisional, but I also wouldn't put money against them in any game because I really don't know. Probably the Eagles because it just seems like the Eagles are
the team we always play.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Eagles and Niners have historically, like the last 20 years, been teams that we just don't regularly beat. So I'll take the Saints though in a heartbeat. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well,
Yeah,
they'll
how-
be the 4th seed, so we'd have to climb up to 5, and I don't think we're going to pass Dallas, so that's not going to happen.
Probably not. Yeah, just looking. It's probably not likely. It'd be a fun thought though. I would love to. I'm totally good like ruining the Saints season every year forever because of butthole eyes. Even if he's in Denver, I don't care. They still supported that man and those antics.
Tampa's 4-5. Jeez. Ugh. It's quite a drop off there between the 6 and 4 teams in the.
That NFC South is pretty fugly.
Yeah.
I don't know. If the Falcons had a legit quarterback, they'd probably be running away with it. But they have Desmond Ritter and who's the other guy they have now? They got Heineke.
Yeah,
Heineke.
Yikes.
Well, you guys ready to talk Timberwolves yet?
We are. They are also currently losing, which is kind of sad.
They are currently losing. It's been a long road stretch, though. This is what, game 5?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think on the road. So
This is just one of those games where their 3-point shots aren't falling, and then they just look like the worst team in the league. But then they could turn around if they hit 2 or 3 in a row, then they'll be right back in it.
yeah, they need to. I don't think New Orleans is missing a lot here. They're getting a lot of offensive rebounds, which I don't know why the Wolves are giving up so many the last couple games. Like the game against the second game against the Warriors. It's like, my God, guys, grab the ball.
Yeah, no shit.
It's been a little.
They look real tired against the Suns too. Like they just did not look like they wanted to play that game.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch any of that, and I kind of figured that'd be a letdown after 2 really like emotional, physical games back to back with the Warriors. So, but there's hope. I mean, they're legit, top 4 team in the West right now. If they keep it going, not just like record wise, but I legit think like play wise, they can finish top 4, which would be huge. And that hasn't happened since 2004, I'm guessing.
That was the only time in their history they've been in the top 4.
Right? Yeah. So
I don't know. I think they're going to need some help to stay that high, though. If they're going to need the Clippers and the Suns and the Lakers to not get hot. Otherwise, I think they probably fall down to 6 or so.
the Clippers are washed. The trade for Harden was just stupid.
Yeah, but every time I say that, then he's going to come back and he's going to just start hitting game winners every other day, and it's just annoying the hell out of me.
No, I have zero faith and I don't want faith in him. I mean, Harden, I hate the way he plays, and I think he's just crushes chemistry in a bad way. He's a chemistry.
But you got to hand it to him, though. He is good enough, or at least he was good enough, that he could blow up a team and still carry them to victory most days. Maybe now that he's a little bit older, he's not quite as good.
Well, his effort ain't there. Say what you want about LeBron, but LeBron busts his balls playing. Harden's never, left it all on the court. He's making sure he's got energy for the strip club.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw it. I think it was real. Like legit, one of his first days in LA after a game, he went to a strip club. I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
No,
You got to be better than the ones in Philly, though.
Yeah. I mean, shame on anybody that keeps trading for him, whether it's Brooklyn or Philly at this point, like, he is what he is. So just
how many more stops do you think he's got before people stop trading for him?
How many years does he have left on his contract?
This is the last year of his contract. I think he'll do just enough in the second half of the season and in the playoffs that some other team will give him a contract next year. I don't know who it will be, but someone will.
I mean, is it something where like Washington gets him just to like get butts in the seats? The Wizards,
Oof.
just to like.
Well, we have to hit the salary cap minimum, so come here for $10 million.
Yeah, and play with Jordan Poole, which I don't know if you've seen any clips of him since he's been out there. It's hilarious. I mean, doing like the Curry shooting a 3, walking away, and it clanks off, and shoving guys off when they're huddling at the bench, and he's not listening to the coach, and he tries to get his attention. He's like, "I got this, man. I got this." It's like, no, you don't. You suck. So, yeah.
Which team would you like him to go play for and just be terrible for the rest of his time and career? I'd love to him to go to the Knicks and just be real bad.
I was gonna say Memphis.
I think Thibodeau would resign if Dolan traded for Harden.
I think it's a win-win then.
Thibodeau would just say, "Not doing it. I quit. I'm out." I think he'd do the same if they traded for Towns. So I'm not dealing with Towns again. I'm out.
Can you imagine him going to play for Pop? Like that The worst combination. Probably
Pop would be dead by Thanksgiving if that happened.
or in jail.
You just start showing Wendy all the nightlife places out there.
Yeah.
On San Antonio.
Keep him away from Harden.
They're just constantly crossing the border.
But no, I like the Bulls team. I think they match up well. I mean, and I'm not the only one that's thought this, said this, but from the games I watched last year in the playoffs, it's like, man, if we had Nas and Jaden, like those were, and then Kyle was out after he got his eye poked or whatever it was with the eye. I think he got it poked, right? Like that's a team they match up well with for whatever weird freaking reason. Even if because that maybe Jaden keeps Jamal Murray from just destroying him. Jokic will always get his, but if you shut down Murray and you shut down like Porter, and we have defenders that can do that, they have a shot. And they killed him the first game this year. I watched that whole thing, and they just killed him. Just one game, that shit happens. But that game wasn't happening last year. Not like that.
No.
And they went toe-to-toe with the Celtics, who are amazing. I think they play the 76ers coming up, who've had a good start to the year. So
yeah, I think probably outside of Boston and maybe Golden State, the Wolves probably have the best starting five in the NBA as terms of 1 through 5. Their tail end guys actually being good.
Yeah.
I think they still. I'm not so sure about the backup point guard spot. I don't know that. What's his name? I can never remember the guy's name. He's got a weird name. Shake Milton. That's it. I don't understand what he does. Aside from just take up minutes, he just kind of disappears when he's out there.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if they got like I don't know if they either of them come off the bench, but like one of the Jones boys.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Right? Like just a ball handler that distributes, doesn't need points, doesn't need a ton of minutes.
But who can actually hit a 3-pointer if you need him to.
Yeah, and super good with the ball, right? Like doesn't turn it over, runs the offense well. Like that's the dream. Because Shake, I mean, I don't even know if Shake's gotten in this game.
Well, McLaughlin's hurt, so I assume Shake's the number 2 point guard. I don't know, unless they're just letting Ant play.
He's got 13 minutes so far this game.
Yep, I'm looking at him right now and not impressed.
I'm guessing 2 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound in 13 minutes, something like that.
He's 2 for 5.
0 for 2 in this
position.
Okay. And I think he fouled a guy. It's like that's a really bad possession.
Yeah.
He's definitely not amazing. I mean, and there's talks that hopefully he would be a really good guy coming off the bench. But yeah, I'd be curious to see if they make any moves to solidify. Because that's definitely, from what I've read and what I've very casually observed, that's an issue. Otherwise, I mean, those top, Anderson coming off, Anderson would start on a ton of teams. Nas would start on a ton of teams, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's such a fun mismatch, to come off the bench.
They're both such odd players, though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise I like the lineup. I mean, I still think we gave up too much for Rudy. And I think I said that on the podcast last year, but
it is funny how that kind of screwed up the trade market now, and it's making it harder for other teams to complete trades.
Right.
Because the expectation is just so high for how many first-round picks you have to throw in, because that's what happened for Gobert.
Yeah, a guy that gets like 12 and 12, he gets 4 first rounders. What? And like swap. Come on, O'Connell. Like you can start off like there's a negotiation phase. You don't bring out your best offer. So
people have turned around a little bit on that trade, though. They don't think it's as terrible as it.
Well, yeah. I mean, part of it, they just needed time, right? Like how many minutes did the big three have together? I mean, it wasn't a lot.
And Cat was hurt for half the year. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the biggest part is Cat and Rudy need to learn how to play it with each other. So,
and I think getting rid of D'Angelo Russell probably helped in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting a real point guard, someone to distribute the ball more.
Yeah. He was not the man. It was Shake shooting a 3. Cool, Brick.
Well, I'm going to the game next week against Philadelphia. And, Steve got tickets one way or the other. And then I'm going to games. I'm taking a little road trip, and I'm going to the games in Indianapolis and in Cleveland in March.
Wow. Nice.
So hopefully they're still in contention then.
Who you road tripping with?
Honestly, I'm just doing it solo. I talked to a few people. They weren't interested, and I thought if I'm going to spend that much time in a car, it's probably better off that I not have somebody there who's going to want to kill me after 3 hours.
You didn't ask me, though, so I don't know who you asked.
Well, if you want to fly out and meet me there, you go ahead.
He,
I already got my
he will
tickets
not
done.
drive with you in the car, Peter.
Does anybody
Yeah.
want to do a Wolves road trip with you? It's this guy.
Well, we'll try again next year. I talked to Steve about maybe I think they play in Washington in sometime in February or March, and I talked to Steve about that. He wasn't really interested, but maybe next season I would be open to like Washington or even Milwaukee, some kind of a road trip like that for the Wolves.
Yeah.
Pete, we should just get way better tickets than he's getting, and
Yeah,
courtside.
I'll wave at you. I'll wave at you.
We'll just show up to the 2 games.
Text them, sitting on
You
the-
guys just fly in right before the game and take your limo to the arena. I'll wave at you.
Just don't initiate contact. Security doesn't like that.
Right, I gotcha.
He didn't want to drive with us.
Well, like I said, I mean, I don't expect any human on this planet to be okay with spending. I think the first day it's probably like 8 or 9 hour drive, and then a few other 4-hour stretches in between. So no human I'm not going to subject anyone to that.
I could survive that.
Indy and Cleveland, you said? Those are 2 games?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cleveland's a drive. That would be a drive. Oof.
Well,
I figured any further than that, I would have to fly. So that's probably as long of a driving trip as I'd be willing to do.
Understandable.
And spread out over 4 days or 5 days or whatever it's going to be. So
so funny.
when I get back, we can record my my road trip review after I get back.
He's secretly taking the Greyhound the whole way there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Halliburton passes the eye test in person.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sink and I might be going to a game on the 28th. I forget who they play.
Of November?
Yeah. And then I just saw it was an Ant. It's going to be an Ant bobblehead night on the February 28th. So we talked. We might try to go to that game too. So if you guys are interested, let me know. We haven't bought those tickets yet, but we could do a little guys' night out there for that.
You went to a game with him last year too, right?
Yeah.
Years ago, maybe?
I think we went each of the last 2 years. We saw Atlanta this last year, and I learned to hate Trae Young with a passion. It was just constant, not even flopping. I don't know if you call it flopping, but like jumping into guys to drag, draw a foul and, swinging the arms into a dude's arm.
Yeah.
His like to draw the foul with a shot. And it was and he kept getting the calls. It was a very contentious, like the crowd was just on the refs. Because it was brutal to watch. But they won. I think they won in OT. So that was good. It was a good game.
You going to the Oklahoma City game? Is that what you're going to? 28th?
Yeah, if that's the 28th, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
I would like to
That'll be Chet's first game back in Minnesota, won't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. So probably when he was about to be a senior in high school, or like the start of his senior year of high school, Bob had Willie Burton was in town for Willie Burton was getting honored at Williams before a Gopher game. And so there was the night before, some of the old Gophers were getting together, and Bob brought me, and I met Chet Holmgren's dad. And so I didn't the high school senior season was just starting, and I just heard talk to Bob. I didn't really follow high school basketball, and Bob was like, "Oh, his son's one of the top recruits in the nation." I'm like, "What?" And then I looked up, found some YouTube videos, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" So then I talked to his dad a little bit back then. I had no idea he would be this good. He's I'm trying to catch his games a little bit when they're on, just because a local boy, and he's just a bit of a unicorn.
Yeah, did you see the Wemby game with him?
No, I wanted to watch
just
that.
Slender Man out there.
Yeah, right. You see Holmgren, you're like, oh my god, that guy's really tall and skinny, and then when Wemby comes in the picture,
that guy is really tall and skinny.
Brings it up a notch.
That should be the new All-Star format: guys over 7 feet versus guys under 7 feet.
Oh, I'd watch it because it's gotten pretty uncomfortable.
I know, right? Everyone listening to this right now has the same question for you. When this Gopher basketball reunion, was Jim Chick-Jansky there?
Thinking,
Chick?
I think, gosh, was he there? He might have been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was my favorite player Kevin Lynch there?
I don't know if he made it that night because it was probably during the Wolves. Yeah, I don't know if it was the Wolves preseason, maybe because it's probably this, October-ish.
Yeah, it's probably during the Wolves.
Right? Or early, or probably early November because it's when the Gophers season, I think, first started. So
was the assistant who did everyone's homework there?
Nagelhoff?
Well, I assume those earlier teams had a different person, or was she there for that long?
She was a tutor.
She was there for a long time, I think.
Yeah.
She was part of the program for a while.
That was not Bob's tutor.
Is this breaking news? Who was writing Bob's papers?
If you saw his grades, you would know this, Bob. That's what I reply to everybody. Your brother, did you see his grades?
Pete was writing his papers for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. Like Brent Haskins was there, Clem's kid, who was he's like a manager or something like that, team manager or something. But yeah, it was funny. I was talking to his dad. He's like, oh, they said back then, he's like, oh, he's probably like 170 dripping wet. And he was still 7 foot back then.
Jesus.
6'11". Like 170, that tall. Keep him out of a windy room or, windy days, lock him down, put some lead boots on him. But yeah, it's fun. I'm not a big NBA guy, but I am a fan, and I kind of like this up and coming generation of players with Ant and Wemby and Shea and others. So it'll be a sad day when like the Durants and LeBrons are gone. Not Harden so much, but I'm excited.
I'm not gonna miss Jimmy Butler's new hairstyle.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
I don't know if that was a joke or if that was like a legitimate cry for help.
Yes.
The team has to employ a therapist if he shows up on a day like that.
Well, and that was his thing with the Lillard trade, right? Like that was him sort of acting about the Lillard trade, I believe.
Yeah, that message was lost on me. I just thought he was a freaking nut.
That was, I mean, I think that was sort of the connection, correlation. Again, I don't know how, but he talked about like collusion or something like that too.
He thought that deal was done in Miami.
Yeah,
somehow.
They're probably for the better that they didn't make that deal because Dame ain't doing it in Milwaukee, and them losing Drew Holiday has not helped. Like they're struggling a bit to fit him in, and the downgrade in defense between those two is astronomical.
Yeah.
You go from like literally, I think defensive player of the year, right? I think Drew won defensive player of the year last year.
Mm-hmm.
To a guy
I don't know last year, but recently, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was last year, and to a guy that just could care less about it and just hasn't shot the ball well. It's like, well, that might hurt.
How to play together either.
Yeah, that's part of it, right? Anytime you bring another superstar guy in, especially one that's played that long, he's been in the league for 11 years, 12 years,
and always had to have the team on his back.
Yeah,
always taking shots.
Middleton, obviously Giannis, Lopez has like been awesome, but now their whole team is just old farts.
Yeah,
starting lineup is old. Guy except for Giannis is like 33 and older,
and like 4 of Giannis's brothers.
Yeah, it's like they keep employing them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Long story short, I'm buying on the Timberwolves to a degree. Again, I don't think they'll compete, but there's improvement, and then it's just a matter of how do they keep the key non-starters who aren't re-signed, beyond this season or next, with Cat making fucking $60 million plus a year.
Has there been very many like big in-season trades in the NBA in recent years? I can't really think of.
Durant was just last year, right? Durant was midseason.
Kyrie Irving was traded midseason last year.
Yeah, but that was Brooklyn, like being
Brooklyn
dysfunctional and blowing up.
I don't know if you mentioned Tyus Jones earlier. If they could send Cat somewhere and get like Tyus Jones and Denny Avdija back from Washington, I would be very happy with that. But I don't know. You'd have to get a third team involved. I don't know how that would work out.
Well, and the problem is Cat's been playing well, right? Like,
right.
I want to really, really, really like Cat, but I also don't know that if he's your second best player and he's your highest paid player, I don't know that that's a championship caliber team. We're lucky right now that we have a young Ant who makes a lot now. We have Rudy playing well. Nas took a massive discount, probably. I can only assume.
McDaniels re-signed, so you'll have him for a while. I think if you could get some more offense out of McDaniels, that would certainly make it easier to trade Towns. And then they drafted that guy, Leonard Miller, who had the great Vegas Summer League showing, and but I don't think he's gotten more than a few minutes so far this season. But you think if he was given them anything, then that would make it easier to trade Towns too.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's everything I've read, like, they got a steal with that dude, and nobody knows why he fell that far. So it wasn't like he had like dirty laundry out there. It wasn't a PR issue. But no, I mean, to me it makes sense. Let him play in the G League and get some more minutes. And I mean, I think he's mostly on the bench. He might have been sent down once. Like Luka's the same thing, man. Like if Luka's like your 9th, 10th guy, that seems pretty decent. Garza.
Yeah, he can give you points in bunches. I
Yeah,
think he
for
can't
sure.
really control his body on the defensive end, though.
Yeah,
But yeah, if he's played 5 minutes a game, I'm okay with that.
yeah. I mean, you don't want him playing against Jokic, right? Because he'll get killed by Jokic.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy is lights out. Like every game in the G League, he just kills everybody. He can shoot the ball for sure. Again, just a good energizer guy, right? Like again, if he's like your 10th dude, that's pretty good to me. So, and Minot's supposed to be, pretty decent too. So yeah, I mean, there's young talent, which is it's nice that we have that balance of veteran to young guys. Conley's been awesome, but they're not going to be able to keep him
No.
after this year. And
Well, they might
Marshall-
not have a choice either. If they unless they can draft a new point guard, they're not going to have cap space to sign someone. They might just have to be forced into extending Conley if he's willing to stay,
but he's
or
making,
trading Towns for a point guard.
he's making like 33 a year or something like that. So
Yeah, that's got to come down.
yeah, and because they're not going to hit that the second luxury threshold. So I don't see them doing that anyway. So there's going to be some tough choices, kind of like the Vikes, right? Like who do we keep? Who do we let go? But
How aren't these new guys full owners at this point? Like, how is
I don't understand if it's just time to get the money together.
what?
I don't know.
I thought it was supposed to switch in the offseason, but then I see Taylor still sitting courtside. So I don't know if Taylor is even a minority owner still wants to sit right by the coach, if they're going to just let him do that. But I thought it did switch over.
Maybe it did. I don't know. I wasn't sure if that handoff was done yet too, but I know they made like a big payment this summer, but I don't know if that was the final payment. So
Yeah, I don't think it's official yet. I think he's still the main owner, but I'd have to look to confirm that.
That's another guy who could just die, and I think we'd be okay with that. The time has come. We all have an expiration date.
he only destroyed the franchise for KG Peak. So let's cut him some slack. In his defense, he teamed up with McHale to do it though. So
It's true.
I don't want
And
to talk
Joe,
about
and Joe Smith.
and Joe Smith. Who wrote this down? Why did you guys write this down? What idiot put that on paper?
Ugh. Speaking of owners, the Pole Edge should sell the team. Is that where we're
Yeah, I don't get that. Lowering their payroll after the season they had
after finally winning a playoff game too?
and building momentum,
Yeah, and goodwill.
right? And goodwill, and having a team that also had health issues again between Polanco's foot and Royce Lewis and Buxton, like always. I mean, there's health issues, right? And they still picked it up and performed well. And they're gonna let Sonny Gray go. It's like he was your second best starter. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, okay.
And their payroll's like 20 something in the league. It's like
Yep.
you guys can step it up. Put some chips in the middle. I'm not saying put all of them in. Don't go for like the top three free agents, but put some money in the middle. Get something invested in it, because it's this half-assing it is annoying with the potential of the roster.
You don't have to own a baseball team. Don't like it? You don't have to do it. You could.
Yeah.
It is a great
If
investment.
money was that big of a concern, why would they re-sign Correa last year? He was gone. You could have just let him go.
Yeah.
If you're so concerned about money.
Was it
And I
the,
understand
they
you probably,
thought the
you
Valley
probably
thing
hate
was going to work out? Like,
I'm sure they probably hate paying Buxton, who gets hurt every other day. I get that. But again, you didn't have to pay him either. You knew he was going to get hurt constantly. That's what he always did before you signed him.
But they're also not paying him a ton, right? Like,
it was a pretty big
Is
discount.
he he's probably like the second highest paid position player, isn't he?
he might be.
Probably
But that's
wise, yeah.
because of a lot of the youth on the team too, and guys that are still on like their younger deals, like Kepler, right? Like all those guys are still like up for arbitration. Amazingly, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be. And they just extended Lopez, right? I mean, especially before he took off and did awesome in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, it's a good group. I'm hoping they do something in free agency, because they showed they can play to get to to compete in the AL for sure. I don't know if they're at the level of the Braves consistently or the Dodgers, but they can play. So I mean, I don't expect them to go after Ohtani, but come on, guys, put a little money in there, and at least keep your better players that are up for contracts.
Not everybody you sign has to be for 1 year.
There's that too. Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, more to come on that one, right? I guess we'll see how free agency goes, who they get, who they lose, and if they don't re-sign anybody, it's going to be back to middling. And the crappy thing is, like, the division just seems like
So bad. Yeah.
ripe for the taking again, right? Like the pennant's there, man.
Yeah, Cleveland's not re-signing a bunch of people too.
No, Chicago's a mess. Royals are a mess. So
The Wolves are down by 4 with 2 minutes left.
yep, and we just followed them. I think they're We'll see. We'll see what happens here.
All right.
All right, gents. Well, I got to rack if that's all right.
Try not to make it another year before the next podcast.
Yeah, I swear it hasn't been that long. I could have sworn we had a preseason Vikes one. No,
You've got to get Jeremy on here to share with the world his recent excitement, his fun story.
That's all about. You could talk about his rehab and everything.
Yeah.
Rehab. So, yeah, I'd be down for that.
All right. We'll do that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Later.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
There's no time for last requests.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Look, Betty, I've got no time for games today. Now,
there's no time for a bench test. Heat 'em up.
I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make those rainbows in my mind. When I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with you, just the two